Sharon Galbraith here at Eastridge Pottery, and today I'm making wide-rimmed plates. And I use 4.5 pounds of clay, and I'm going to stack center two balls of it that are weighed out. I am coning up and coning down the first ball of clay. And if you notice my hand in the back, it guides, the left hand always guides that clay down carefully so I don't trap any air bubbles in the clay. If that's going to happen, it's going to happen back there. So my back fingers are really important. And when I am making plates, it's the only form where I use a lot of water. So you'll see me squeezing water onto the clay every once in a while, it's okay with plates. Here I am taking all the slurry off the first stack of clay so that I can stack the second ball on top. You don't want it flat. You need a little curve so you don't trap air between the two balls of clay. And now I'm going to blend the two right down the side, down and up. I'm going to blend the two before I cone up and cone down again. There you go. You just want to get a nice connection. And this video is sped up a little bit, so if you can imagine this going slower, in reality it is slower than what you're seeing. And back to coning up and coning back down. And once it's centered, we can start opening up the plate. Notice my fingers in the back. And you really want to start a plate really perfectly centered. It'll just set you up for success. And here I am bringing down the clay. And the fingers in the back are very important. You just want to make sure you don't trap any air back there because it's really hard to compress the bottom of a plate when you have air bubbles in it. So this is super important. And I just keep bringing it down. I use a good amount of water, which later on we'll get rid of. But for now, the water is your friend. And I just keep bringing it down. And I do a little at a time. I don't do it all at once. I slowly bring it down and out. By the time you get to compressing this clay, it'll pretty much be 90% compressed because of the way I open the plate up. And now I'm going to start moving the clay out towards the side. Notice how I wrap my pinky finger around the outside edge with that big kitchen sponge. Always making sure I don't trap air underneath the clay. And I'm coming out and then back in, always back into the center. Now I'm just going to measure it because I'm going to make a stack of these and I want them all to be the same. So it's good to measure them. Here I am compressing the bottom of the plate. And like I said, by opening it the way I do, it's already 90% compressed. And it just makes it a really successful plate. If you open your plates this way, you will never see S-cracks on the bottom of them unless you use so much water that you don't get the water out of the bottom. But you'll see in a few minutes that I take a metal rib and get all slurry off, all water out of the bottom of the clay. And I'm just compressing. I go out and I go in towards the middle. And you can actually feel the clay when it's compressed. There you go. Out and back in. And you can feel it. It feels tighter. Here I am getting all slurry off of the plate. You don't want any water to sit for any large amount of time because that could end up coming back as cracks. Okay, so I'm getting ready to pull the rim. I'm going to push the clay in at the bottom. A real good push. If you're pushing in, the clay is going to go up. Now I'm going to hold it carefully, and I'm going slow. Two hands on it. I pull up, and then my wrist drops, and I pull the rim out. Now I'm doing 1.5-inch rims. They're very, very, very wide, and I'm hoping gravity is not going to take them down. So I'm going to have to get the slurry off of there and go very slowly and constantly keep your finger underneath to support that rim because the further out it goes, the more likely it is to fall down. We all know what gravity does to clay. I'm using the yellow rib here to get a nice curve in between the rim and the bottom of the plate. I want my plates to stack, so I'll use the same curve on all of them. And here I am just, compressing that rim, fingers underneath, supporting it. And coming in again, I have to get all that slurry off and give it a nice curve there. And I'll just keep coming back till it looks, just how I want it. And if all of them have the same curve, they're going to stack nicely. Now I'm just giving a nice bead on the edge of the rim. I go very slowly and very, very carefully with the chamois. You'll see when I lift it up super carefully so you don't whack the rim out of out of round. And just giving it a little extra love with the metal rib, get all slurry off. And that's how I make a wide-rimmed plate. I hope you enjoyed this. Give me a thumbs up. See you next time.